Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Savvy Cast. This is Jamie, and I'm thrilled that you're joining today, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast. I'm so excited today. This is the day after the day after Thanksgiving, and I'm looking at my beautiful friend Deanna Pizitz. She is joining me today from Palmetto Bluff. That's where they spent Thanksgiving. Deanna, thank you for joining today.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much for having me. We've been trying to do this for a while, and finally we're getting together.
Well, we just decided we're just going to do it the day we know we'll be at least able to do it. Deanna and I, for those who may not know, Deanna and I have been friends. Deanna, when we started our influencing journey together, and we were at your house.
Yeah.
And I took strawberry brownies. We were filming for that.
Yeah.
We were, and
Meredith
was there.
For that, because when I was coaching that the faster way, remember we met for coffee, and you were one of my.
I was one of your faster way clients.
Yes.
Boy, I need to be doing faster way again.
No. It's really not for us anymore. Well, I think there's better ways now.
Oh, okay. Well,
It was good for us
yeah,
back
great.
then, but that was probably almost 10 years ago. So.
well, it sure was, Deanna. So to sum it up, we've been friends for a little over 10 years, and I see you at church every now and then, and just love you, love Jeff. You are one of my favorite people on earth. So I just asked you to jump on, just to do what we do when we have lunch or coffee, just talk, girl talk, have a little conversation. And I opened it up to, but I only did it like 2 or 3 hours ago. To see if anybody had any questions. And we did get a few. I meant to do this last night, but we have plenty of things we can address without
Yes.
that. But Deanna, before we start, tell us about your time yesterday in Palmetto Bluff.
Well, so it ended up being Palmetto Bluff. If no one's ever been to Palmetto Bluff, it's a great
Beautiful.
place. It's so beautiful. It's a low country, and it's in South Carolina. There's a Montage Hotel here, and that's Jeff and I started coming here years, like probably 6 or 7 years ago, and stayed at the Montage and fell in love with it. It's a great family place. Unfortunately, we did not have our family with us yesterday. It's I have two sons that live in Birmingham, and then my youngest son lives in Seattle. So it was just me and Jeff yesterday, but my oldest son and his wife are coming in today. So, but it was nice. We went to a buffet and we had a great time. It's sad, I will tell you, during the holidays, sometimes being by yourself without your children, but we made the best of it. And that's just the way life goes, when you have grown children and they're married. And plus, I'm divorced. And so they have to spend time with their father, it's just all the things. They have so many places they're pulled from.
Yes. Well, when I saw your pictures, I thought you were all together. But then I realized, I remember talking to you, and that, and then especially one that lives, you have to fly to see them,
Yes.
your new grandbaby. But yes, the Montage, Zane and I stayed there once, and it's lovely. That's a beautiful. Is it warm there?
It's a little bit warmer than it is in Birmingham right now, because I always look at the temperatures. And so it has been a little bit warmer. The sun is out. There's not a cloud in the sky right now. It really is beautiful. It's a great place to ride bikes, walk,
Yeah.
boating. If you're a golfer, pickleball, tennis, I mean, you name it, they've got it right here. So.
Well, that is great. Well, I'm glad y'all are getting to enjoy your place. Well, Deanna, let's just dive right in, because when people do take the time to submit questions, I think it's great to go ahead and start with them. And just to preface, for those who maybe have never heard Deanna, or maybe before, we're both open books, both very transparent. And Deanna, that is one of the things I appreciate the most about you. You are very transparent. You are not pretentious, and you just tell it like it is. So one of the questions that I actually texted all these to you, and I said, Deanna, I just want to make sure you're okay answering this one about your second husband. And I've on when you did have your podcast, and I already knew this, but you shared what you're probably about to share about your your journey of marriage?
Okay, well, so first of all, my first husband, I was married to for 17 years,
Mm.
and it took me 2 years to get divorced from him. But he is the father of my three sons, so I never regret anything because I was in love with him, and it was. But we were both two unhealthy individuals, and deciding about divorce was really tough. And then my second husband is actually, I think people think that Jeff is my second husband, but he's not. He's my third husband. My second husband I actually met in Chattanooga while I was in the midst of my first divorce. He was the complete opposite of my first husband, and I did everything you shouldn't do when you get divorced. I was so vulnerable, and it just turned out to be not a good situation at all. After my divorce was final, I married him 6 months after. And I did a whole podcast on this about the shame of divorce because there is so much shame. And I was the first person in my family to ever get divorced. And then to do it a second time, oh my gosh, it was awful. I cannot even tell you. It was like a nightmare. It was a nightmare the first time and then a second nightmare again.
Was
Luckily,
your mother living during this?
she was.
Okay.
She was living during that time, and
Yeah.
thank goodness she was right by my side
Yeah.
through it all because
Yeah.
it was a really some dark days in my life. But again, I don't regret it because it's made me who I am today. It probably wouldn't have led me to Jeff, who I'm married to today, and I can't say my marriage is perfect because I don't think any marriage is perfect.
Yeah.
But I appreciate this marriage and I appreciate Jeff much more than I did when I was married to the other two. A lot of it's wisdom. As we get older, we're a lot wiser and we realize that things that come out of our mouth. I mean, I contributed to my first marriage not succeeding. It wasn't just him. For so many years, I thought it was just him. It wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it takes two. So anyway, and even when my marriage now gets hard, I work harder at it. And I think Jeff does too. He had a first marriage also, and
Mm.
it didn't work out. And I think when you've been there, you like understand it's just getting divorced. And there's a lot of divorce in I think to have a new term like gray divorce or something. It's like in this menopause age that a lot of women decide I'm getting divorced. I'm not happy. They think the grass is greener on the other side, but I'm here to tell you it's not. And if you can make your marriage work, you're better off with that partner that you've gone through for the long haul. Jeff and I were just talking about this yesterday as we were walking. We did a turkey trot yesterday morning, and we were talking about, he said, does it make you sad that all your boys aren't here with you? And I said, well, no. I mean, would I like that? Yes. And I said, I do wonder sometimes if I had stayed with their father, would they all be around us? And I said, but I don't think that. I think that would make it easier for my boys in some ways and then harder in some ways because there was definitely reasons we got divorced. So, so anyway, I just think that we just have to really work hard at marriage but realize that sometimes it just isn't going to work and you have to move on. I don't know.
How long have you and Jeff been married, Deanna?
A little over 11 years. It'll be 12 years in April.
Okay. Okay.
I tell him all the time, he's the best husband I've had so far. But that's a joke because I do not ever want to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the grass is greener. That is, yeah, my goodness. Yeah. It takes more watering, and you got to be willing to water, you, to your point,
Really
to be willing to work, and it's not going to, there's no magic bullet.
the thing is it just brings on a whole other set of problems when you get divorced and remarried. I know that people probably look at my life now and they think, oh, she's got it made, all these things. And yes, I mean, my life is better than I ever thought it would be, but it brings on its challenges. Jeff's never had children before.
Mm,
So he can't understand what it's even like to have children.
mm,
And that's good and bad, right? Because I don't have to deal with stepchildren. But, I just think that, blending families, it's really can be difficult.
mm.
And, yeah, it's just, it can be hard.
Yeah.
But I do want to give hope for those that are divorced and that do want to get remarried. There is hope. You just have to be smart about finding the right person. Give yourself time after a divorce and really get some healing because it does take two. It's not just one person
Mm.
that leads to divorce.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, Deanna, for being vulnerable and sharing that. And I will link to your podcast in the show notes
Okay.
for anyone who wants to hear the full story of all of
That
it.
was actually my number one downloaded podcast when I was
Oh,
doing podcasting from
wow.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, a lot of people want to know more about it, right?
Right. That's right. Okay. Well, let me see. Okay. We have someone that has and I'm not going to read names just because I didn't tell people I would, but
Yeah.
27-year-old son who's newly engaged and a 28-year-old daughter likely next. New season for me, need advice. So this Insta friend has got a son and a daughter about to be engaged. What is your best advice?
Well, I think that there is this, we always talk about this empty nest. And
Mhm.
then there is this next stage. I wish we could come up with a name for it because there is this next stage when your children start getting married and start having children.
Yeah.
Um,
The nest starts filling up.
it starts filling up, but it's so, when they first start empty nesting, they're still coming back home.
Mhm.
They are still coming back home.
Yeah.
Now, when they start getting married, now they got to split time with in-laws. You're bringing different personalities into your family that they didn't grow up that way. I mean, there's just a lot of different dynamics,
Mhm.
different political views, different
Mhm.
all the things, right?
Mhm.
Different personalities.
Yeah.
So my best advice is to not judge and not make like political stuff be off the table.
Yeah.
Let's not
Yeah.
talk about that. And just to accept your in-laws however they come. It's only going to alienate your children if you are not accepting to their spouse. And I
Mhm.
always try to put myself in my children's shoes and think, how can I make it easier on them?
Mhm.
I have all daughter-in-laws because I have 3
Yeah.
sons, and it is
Which, Deanna, that's a lot of my friends' biggest fears, daughters-in-law. I'll never have them.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
speak
so
to that because if you don't get good ones, they sorta rule the roost, don't you think, with the
I absolutely think the girls rule. Um,
yeah. I
and
mean,
that
your
goes
sons are gaggy too, right? Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it goes back to this happy wife, happy life, and I
Yeah.
want my
Yeah.
sons to have a happy life. So
Mhm.
I want them to have a happy wife, and so um, I have learned that. I don't think unless and maybe there's just some evil girls out there. I mean, I've been very lucky. All my daughter-in-laws
Mhm.
are very sweet girls. But it does take work on both of our parts, and they have to accept me, all my flaws, and I have to accept
Mhm.
them for all their flaws, and I have to understand that whereas I used to be the number one woman in my son's
Yes.
life,
Right.
and I loved that. I mean, there's nothing like that, right? But now it's more important for them to put their wives above me. And
And did you make that clear to your sons? Did you pass the torch and say, "Okay, I want you to put your wife first"?
yes, I have. I mean, I told them because that is the way God has intended it to be.
Mhm.
And it will, if they don't ever have to worry about our relationship.
Right.
I mean, I'm always going to love my sons no matter what, even
Mhm.
if they push away from me or whatever. I'm going to love them. I mean, that's just who I am. Do I get my feelings hurt? Of course. Of
Mhm.
course I do. But I want them, one of the things that, one reason I finally decided I had to get my first divorce was I did not want my sons seeing how their father treated me. And I wanted them to treat their wives with respect, with love, and all these things. And they do. They are.
Mm.
I mean, they're not perfect husbands. Don't get me wrong. These boys are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they are really good men,
Mhm.
and they do put their wives first, and that's how I raised them to be, and
Right.
I'm so proud of them, and so, you know, so what? I get my feelings hurt. I guess my feelings hurt from Jeff. I get my feelings hurt from my friends. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
life, right?
Yeah.
But I get over it because I know that relationship is really important, and these girls too are having my grandchildren.
Oh my goodness.
So
Yeah.
I really want to be really good friends with them that way too.
Yes. Well, Deanna, I'm so glad that you spoke to that side to those who will have daughters-in-law because you're handling it beautifully, and it's hard not to love you. And I know you're
Oh,
a great,
I'm sure
great.
there are things they don't like about me. I
Well,
know there
all of
are,
us. I mean, that's just
but
reality.
yeah.
But you are a beautiful person inside and out, and so I think that just lends itself to they're going to naturally, well, even though you have normal issues, I think it's going
Mhm.
to work well. What I want to say to my friends who have daughters, and this is what Zane and I have done and still do with ours, and we're very blessed. We love both sides of the family. We were actually at the in-law, my Judd's parents yesterday. We've had them
Oh,
here.
that's
We
nice.
we all just love each other. It
Yeah.
just worked out that way. That's not typical,
Mhm.
probably. But we tell our daughters, we say, always defer to his parents, especially his mom. We're here. Y'all live in Birmingham. See, they live here.
Oh, yes.
They live here,
Yeah.
and we said, we wanna be easy. We can if you wanna go do this, that we're not rigid on dates or whatever. So, that's just a piece of advice for
I
whoever
agree with
wants.
that. You can't be just because
You can be
Thanksgiving.
easy or you can
Yeah.
be difficult, and we don't wanna be
Exactly.
difficult. And
I agree. I agree. And just because Thanksgiving falls on a Thursday doesn't mean that's when you have to celebrate Thanksgiving.
that
Just
is
because
so
Christmas
true.
falls on the 25th doesn't mean you have to celebrate it then. You can work
Amen.
around and be easy. I agree. I think being easy is far easier for
That's
everyone, right?
because if you think about it, because the daughters do have the power when they get we did when in our marriage,
Mhm.
never pit your husband against his mother. I did that some early on, and it was very
Mhm.
foolish. It's only going to hurt your marriage. And now I couldn't, when I finally got wise and more mature, I realized she's my biggest advocate.
Mhm.
Why would I ever? So, and I think we grow in these things when we become more secure in our relationship with our husband and we become more wise and hopefully more close to the Lord. We
Mhm.
learn things that, as they are. But anyway,
Oh, yeah, in life, that's what we do. We learn from our mistakes,
yeah.
and I think as older, wiser women, we have to pass that on to our
Oh my
younger
goodness.
friends.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I hope we answered that question. Okay, we've got, let's see, several of the same. Okay, I'm going to stick here now with in law questions. Best way to handle holiday time with adult children, divided time with other in laws. We basically
Yeah.
just addressed that. And I think you and I are both on the same page.
Mhm.
Be the easy one. And I will tell you that really is sort of counterintuitive. It makes them really want to be with you more when you're like, hey, if y'all want to go there,
Mhm.
Thursday, Thanksgiving, come Friday, well, then you get them the rest of the weekend. I mean,
Right.
it all works out. So I would just say
Mhm.
don't set up battles.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Before your kids' marriage, and one way to be for their marriage, and also for your grandkids and a happy home, be the easy grandparent, be the easy in-law.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I agree totally.
okay, let's see. Okay, last one on in-laws, unless we've gotten more since I've gotten on. Deanna, I'm going to defer to you. I'm the world's worst gift giver. The world's worst.
Not a good one either, but we'll
Um,
try.
and as influencers, we share things all the time, but it's things we probably buy for ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you know what to gift your in-laws for Christmas? Now, I don't know. Would you think that she was talking about your sons and daughters-in-law? I guess that would be it, because I do have an answer for that. But
You answer it. I want to hear what you say, and then
okay.
I'll tell you what
Well,
my answer is.
and it's funny, and I promise you, I'm not trying to make a plug on my podcast. This is the truth. Yesterday, we love Tucker Nuck, and I have sons-in-laws. Not Tucker Nuck, Untuck It. I get that. Just those are two of my favorite brands. Untuck It. Yesterday at Thanksgiving, both of my sons-in-law and we got into a little discussion. They said, "Look, Fam Sab, we've got on our Untuck It," and I gave those shirts to them last year.
Aw.
And of course, I've already got their Untuck It. Untuck It is what I always give my sons-in-law because it's easy. I know what size they have, and they always need shirts to wear to church or to work. So that I'm easy. Guys are, simple. But what about
Right. So I really struggle with this. Okay. I really do. But my
Mhm.
youngest son and his wife do this Elfster thing where they list out all the presents that they want. I do get their presents from that just because they have taken the time to put in what they actually want.
Mhm.
I don't love that because I'd rather surprise them with
Yeah.
something. I've learned that if I do, they're not happy. So I'm just like,
Oh,
I
okay.
go to their list and I pick something. Now, the girls, my daughter-in-laws, are easy to shop for because I just buy them stuff that I like and they usually like what I like.
Oh, okay.
Boys are the hardest people to buy for.
Well,
So,
what do you get them? Guys are hard.
so hard. I mean, sometimes I get, like I said, my youngest son's easy because I just go on his list, I pick out something. My older two, I have gotten Untuck It for my middle son. He likes that a lot. So I have gotten that. I he's a child at heart, so he loves light up shoes.
Oh, I can see it. Yes. Oh, that's funny.
Like, so I could get him goofy things that he likes
Yeah.
or something for his yard or something like that. My oldest son, he is very much like me. He loves clothes, nice clothes. So I can usually pick him something out. He is the hardest one to buy for, probably out of all three of my boys. But I usually just pick out some really nice shoes. And I just usually, I don't go crazy with my children anymore.
Yeah.
I don't do stockings. I don't even do stockings for my granddaughter because she gets all that stuff from her parents or other grandparents.
Yeah.
I'm like, it just gets out of hand. It becomes all about the presents. And so
Yeah.
I get my kids maybe one, fairly decent present, like maybe
Right.
$200 or $300, and then maybe a couple of small little things.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, we don't go like bonkers on Christmas with the presents. I used to.
Sure. Yeah. I put up, okay, this will probably make people think that I'm just awful, but we are such not decorating type people that we put our trees. Zane brings a truck and he backs it up and we put them whole. Like we don't take them apart. We have two. They're fake.
Yeah,
And he pulls them down to the basement and we put them in a corner and they stay till next year.
all decorated and everything.
Yeah. Well, I could take the decorations off.
Oh, yeah.
Like the lights stay on.
Yeah. Mine's the same way.
Okay. Well, we do that every year. And I started thinking, am I going to do stockings? But that makes my head explode. I did it when the kids were at home. I think if we have good food, the house looks a little festive. It's about the grandkids for us now. And I think, doing something special for them, I think that's what it's all about, at least for us. we might give a few things to the kids, but anyway, I'm like you. I think the older you get, the less it's about the stuff and it's more about being together and more meaningful.
Yeah, it's to me, it's more about experiences and that experience. And, I've even thought this with my granddaughter. I mean, she is typical, she's an only child. So, the world revolves around her. And she thinks she needs a present every time I see her or get together with her. And I don't do that. I try to think of our experiences together. And I'll tell you, the best times that we have together we get out the Barbies and we sit there and we end up talking most of the time. We're not even really playing Barbies, but we end up just talking. She's 6 years old and she's like talking to a teenager. She's always been so ahead of what her age has been anyway. So it's like talking to a friend, but it just I feel like I'm hopeful that when she looks back on our lives and our time together, she thinks about our time that we just talked about nothing, that we just
Love that.
talked. And not about what Dee Dee got her or,
Love
anything
that.
like that, but just her time with me. And that brings warm memories to her.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Deanna. And she's so beautiful. She's growing up so fast. We're not
So
big figures.
fast. Oh, gosh.
Okay, now we have the rest of these are in two topics. One is plastic surgery, and we can both speak to that. And the other is HRT and menopause. So let's knock the plastic surgery out. And
Mhm.
just I will start. And you shared your journey. And
Mhm.
so anyone who wants to see, like, I was like, oh my goodness, she is amazing to be sharing all this. I did not, but I'll tell you anything, and I have pictures, I guess. I just didn't because at the time I just wasn't sure if would
Mhm.
ever share it. But now, and I think Deanna, this comes with wisdom, with age, and with also knowing what you know about what your other friends and people you love either do or want to do or would do. They just don't care. The shame around it just lessens the older you get because you realize plastic surgery is a decision that every midlife woman considers, probably, maybe not
Mhm.
all. And whatever you do is your decision. But I did I just turned 60 yesterday.
It's about
Happy.
oh, Thanksgiving you turned that
Yeah.
you turn oh
And
my
it's gonna,
gosh,
yeah,
happy birthday.
you wished me happy birthday, I think, the night of that party. Saying I was getting DMs, happy birthday last week.
Oh, how
It
funny.
was just
Oh
too
my
much about
gosh.
me, but you're sweet. Yes. Yesterday was my birthday, but
Oh,
it falls on Thanksgiving every, I think, 7 years. But
oh.
it was about 4 years ago. I was 50, or maybe 5 years ago. I'm not really good at details, but I had I don't know if it was genetic, but my neck was just continuing especially in the middle. I don't really know if it was actually a gullet, but it was just very.
Mhm.
And the doctor that I was seeing, I was getting tightening treatments that worked for a while. And he said, Jamie, the neck at your age, these tightening treatments, you can continue, of course, to spend money, but this is the point where I tell you as a plastic surgeon that the only thing that's going to resolve that is a facelift. And he said, I would call it a neck lift, but the neck is part of the face. So it is a facelift, however you want to slice it. And he told me, and you can speak to this. A lot of women recoil when you say facelift, especially at first. It's like a taboo, but neck is face. So talked to him, talked to Zane, and after thinking about it, I did get um, I did not. You got a deep plane. I got it's called, I think, endoscopic. It's not quite as deep as yours, and the recovery's
Mhm.
quicker. But everything I did was from the neck. I didn't do anything above the ears, but it did a dramatic difference in my neck. I would do it all over again. Recovery was very quick. And when I did that, I also did a CO2 laser, which
Mhm.
I think you did that as well. But
Did you do it all over your face?
I did my whole face, the CO2 laser. And I would recommend, I mean, and I have people who are friends, people I know that, just around town, and I tell them I don't regret at all what I did. I was in Target, I think 7 days after mine. You, and your experience is very different. You can share that. It's just one of the best things I've ever done.
Mhm.
And I will say now I continue to be very diligent about skincare, micro needling, that kind of thing, because, we're fighting time and
Right.
gravity.
Yeah, it's gravity. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen again. It's
Right,
not like
right.
that's never gonna happen again.
But, I decided I'll do it now, and then everything else I'll just, try to do the best I can. But, and then I did. I had twins, and then I had 2 C-sections, twins, and then another section birth. So I have had the mommy makeover as well. And, I had with that, there was a breast reduction because one was bigger than the other. I nursed twins for a while.
Uh-huh.
One breast was a whole cup, a little more than a cup bigger than the other. I would get embarrassed filming because my
Wait, when did you do this, the mommy makeover?
now that was before the facelift, so that was about probably 8 or 9 years ago. Best thing I ever did. The only thing I would do differently about the mommy makeover, which was a breast reduction and a tummy tuck, was that I would have gone smaller in the breast area because you are going to gain weight in your breasts.
Mhm.
So if you are going to do a mommy makeover and part of that is a reduction rather than augmentation or implants, in my experience, I would have said a cup. I would because I've gained some since then and it always comes back here. So, but that's just me. And
Right. Everybody gains weight in
everybody's
different places. Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
So, I don't have any regrets. I loved my doctor. I had great recovery.
Who was your doctor?
Dr. Clinton.
He did both
He
procedures?
he did both, and it was very, very good. A very dear friend of mine, our kids went through school together. She was using him, and she was doing the exact same thing I was doing as far as the facelift a few weeks ahead of me.
Mhm.
So I got to see her recovery, her results, and it was seamless. So I was very, very pleased.
Did he do your mommy makeover too?
He did
your
all of that.
Okay.
He is the doctor who I tell everyone if you want to for nobody to know you've done anything, use him. You might just look a little fresher, a little brighter, but nobody will like one of my best friends, I actually told her when we were staying at your place in Florida, Deanna. He did not know. I said, "Well, you never know that I had a facelift." She never knew. So
Yeah.
so that's sort of my
Yeah.
experience because it was that. But anyway, but you've shared
Oh, wait, I want to ask you a couple more questions. Did
Okay.
you have any slight depression the first week at all after either procedure?
I did not.
Done.
I felt great. Didn't have a nurse, Zane. And this is the weirdest thing. I sent Zane, you're going to laugh and you're going to cringe because you're so healthy. I was starving, and your face is wrapped up and you look like a mummy. I hadn't eaten. I was coming off anesthesia. And I said, "Would you please go to McDonald's and get me 2 hamburgers, fries, and a frozen Coke?" And he did.
Funny.
And I ate that. And then the recovery, we had small group because that was during small group season. And, I knew one of my best friends I was trying to just stay away from her, really, because I
how
was
funny.
ready to tell her or anyone in the group. And 10 days later, I was in small group, and all that was visible was sort of redness. And I was honest because I'm not gonna lie. If
somebody asked
not gonna lie, yeah. I said, "Y'all excuse the face. I've had a CO2 laser."
Yeah.
So that was but no, I didn't have any of that. But Deanna, mine was not it was just very easy. No,
But even with your mommy makeover with your tummy and breasts, you didn't have any depression or anything like that?
I didn't have any depression. It was a little scary. That was a more scary procedure because of all the tubes and so forth. But no, it was not. But now I'm a person, you've got to realize I've had 2 C-sections. I've had multiple infertility procedures. I'm not really averse. I mean, I don't like having surgery, but to me, it was just hey, I'm going to do this and come home. So it
Right.
wasn't like a huge ordeal. But did
Right.
you, and tell us about your,
Well, so I had breast augmentation. Actually, I've had it 3 times.
oh, now can you define for people who may not know? I had a reduction with
I had
nothing.
implants put in.
Okay, so
Because
augmentation means implant, or does it
yes.
also mean lift?
No, I didn't have a lift. I just had augmentation.
Okay.
The first time I was the smallest you can be. I was
Oh,
always that way from
uh-huh.
when I was younger.
Mhm.
And when I had my second son, I nursed him for 9 months, and all of a sudden
Mhm.
I was a D cup, and yet my waist had gone down. I was 25 at the time, and I was like, "Hello." Finally, I felt like my body was in proportion more so, and I loved it. I was like, so after I quit nursing him, they go back down. They weren't saggy or anything, but they just went back down, and I was like, "No, no, no. I'm ready." Because I'd never felt right in a bathing suit and stuff like that, and so I didn't feel confident, and so I wanted boobs. And,
Mm.
nowadays, having boobs isn't that big a deal, actually.
Mm.
More and more, I mean, it's you see, smaller chested women, and they look
Mhm.
beautiful, but back in the
Back in the day.
90s, having boobs was defining you, right?
Mhm.
And so I had a breast augmentation, and I went from like a double A to a C cup, a full C cup. And I felt very confident and loved the way I looked. It was tough, but it wasn't that tough. I mean, it wasn't that bad at all.
Who did that?
Um, so Dr. Duquette, he's retired now.
Oh, yeah.
And so then I the next plastic surgery I had was after my third son. I decided I needed a mini tummy tuck was what they called it back then.
Yep.
And he was born in 94. So this must have been 95. And my first husband said, well, if you're going to do that, you should get your boobs bigger. And so
Oh.
I was like, well,
Mm.
okay, because he didn't feel like they were big enough. They were a full C, but so I did the tummy tuck, the mini tummy tuck. I had never had a C-section, so now it looks like I've had a C-section. He did put my muscles back together, but now at 60, I still have loose skin, and I would like to go back and redo it, but I just don't think I can go through it again. I and then I
So
had
you would not recommend a mini tummy tuck?
no, I think just go for it if you're gonna do it.
Yeah. Why would you
Yeah.
go under and do all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I ended up being a full D cup. Okay. And so, at first I did it in January, which is a bleep month anyway, and I need to be around people. And after having surgery, I can't be around people. And so I do get depressed. And I got depressed because from my tummy tuck, I didn't have any tubes in or anything like that. A lot of people have drainage tubes after a
Oh,
tummy
yeah.
tuck, but I did not. So guess what happened? I was swollen, and so I was bigger than I had been, and I was like, oh. So anyway, then my stomach finally went. The swelling went away, and I was happy enough. I don't remember being unhappy. I was happy enough.
Mhm.
I had scar tissue build up because I didn't understand about lymphatic drainage and all that now that I do now. But again, it wasn't talked about. That was 30 years ago.
Mhm.
So then I didn't have any more surgery until I was going through my divorce at 40. And I ended up having, it was talked a lot about my physique as I was going through my divorce. I'll just put it at that. And I never wanted my boobs as big as they were. So I decided to go back and have them become a C cup. So that's when I went back in. I had a C cup. And then that's where I am. That's the last time I've had them done.
Mhm.
And then I decided this past year, my son was getting married, I was turning 60, and I really decided maybe I would do a facelift. I had talked 5 years ago to Dr. Russo, is the one who did my surgery. I talked to him 5
Mhm.
years earlier, And he had said I was a good candidate for a mini facelift at that point. But he did say, in 10 years, you're going to want to redo this. And so I was like, it wasn't bothering me enough at that point. So I just decided to wait. And so I waited until this past January, and I had a deep plane. I actually had the works, because before he had just said I need a mini one, and now he was like, "No, you got to do the whole thing."
Right. Right.
So I did a deep plane facelift. I did a CO2 around my eyes and around my mouth, because when they do the deep plane, they can't do your whole face. Honestly would have rather done my whole face, because I felt one of the things that bothered me so much is I felt like a clown, because I had the red around my eyes and just around my mouth, and it made it so
Your
much more
recovery.
pronounced. And then I had they take, I can't remember what, SMAS, that's what he calls it, SMAS, where he takes the tissue that he cuts off from behind your ear, and he takes it's a collagen, and he threads it through your lips and through your nasal fold. So I had that done. And
Anything with your eyes, brow lift?
brow. I had my brow lift. So the only thing about the eyes was the CO2 laser, which tightened everything up, and then the brow lift. I had that done. So it was like
It was a lot.
It was the works. And unfortunately, I got sick on top of that. So, and it was in January. So again, a bleak month. And it was, I felt like Frankenstein. And I don't think I'm alone in this depression, because I have talked to several women. And as I shared my journey, you can go to my Instagram, and I have a whole highlight that talks about that went through. At first, I wouldn't even show my face on Instagram, but I typed stuff because everybody knew what I was doing, because I shared about having it done. But it was tough. Today, almost 11 months later, I'm glad I did it. I'm still numb around my face. My jawline is still tight. I feel like I need lymphatic. I know I need lymphatic massage right now. When I do the lymphatic massage, it feels so much better. And
Does Marina do that for you, or who does?
no, I actually go somewhere else. She does do great. That
Does she do?
buccal
Yeah, buckle or buccal
massage. But anyway, I'm glad I did it. I do go to Marina at my Rainberry. She's
love her.
amazing. And I just had last Friday, a week ago, I had microneedling with a peel, and gosh, my skin feels so great.
Amazing. She's amazing.
She is so good. Just all of her treatments are so good. But and then I have had actually this last time I had Daxify instead of Botox or ice board.
Okay, that was a question about Botox. Now, did you like Daxify, or?
I loved Daxify.
And how's it different from Botox?
Well, so it kicks in a lot quicker, and so it's supposed to last longer. We'll see if it does or not. But anyway, it was recommended to me by my so I've started working with this new girl who I'm in love with. Her name is Dr. Elizabeth Adams, and she comes to your house and does your Botox or dye sport, whatever you want, whatever y'all think you need.
Yeah.
And she does filler too. And she's about to start working on my hormones. When we get to hormones, we can talk about that. But I love her service, and I love her. I've had lots of different people do my Botox throughout the years. And I think I've had some people do a great job, some people do an okay job. She did a wonderful job, and I just love her as a person. You know how when you click with somebody, you just click? And she's one of those people.
Is she a dermatologist or a?
I should know this, but her Instagram is, I have to look at it because I can't, Aesthetics Atelier, I think.
Oh, I saw you posted. I'll go look. Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Aesthetic I can never say that word. But be sure and link her, because she is, I don't know if she's dermatology trained or what, but anyway, she's amazing. And like I said, she comes to your house. And
Wow.
so it's so easy. And then I need a little tweak. And so she came back over and tweaked it a little bit. And like I said, now she's starting to do hormones. And I'm really excited about working with her on hormones also.
Well, that'll lead us into our next. Now we've gotten more questions since, so I'll
Oh, good.
tap it up. But okay, hormones and lots of questions on HRT. Oh, and some friend asked about Botox going to the brain. I don't know about that, but
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't think so.
keeping on until I get definite proof.
Exactly.
Um, okay, so this is easy. Where's Tucker? He's all coiffed and fluffed, and he's down there with his dad. Tucker is alive and well. Thank you for asking about Tucker. Um, okay, HRT, hormone replacement therapy. I do it. I don't have any plans to stop. I recommend what's the book? The new menopause.
Another great book is Estrogen Matters.
Oh, okay. I'll link to both of those. Who wrote New Menopause? I know you know it because we both.
Mary Claire.
Mary Claire
Yeah.
Haver. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I think everyone is getting the news now that we've been lied to or misled for so many years about hormone replacement therapy. So I'll just rattle through what I do. I do estrogen patch. I just spoke to my, I use Dr. Greg Banks. He delivered my babies. He's very forward thinking he does pellets, he does all of it, but point one, a higher level patch twice a week for estrogen, testosterone cream, and topical progesterone because you don't want free floating or
Topical progesterone.
sorry, oral.
Yeah. Okay.
Where's my brain?
Pills. Yeah.
Oral progesterone because you don't want unopposed estrogen. So those three things. And I have a lot of issues. This is another podcast. I have a lot of vaginal dryness, a lot of whatever. So I have a whole little bevy of things that I use for that. I do some topical estrogen down there. I take Intra-Rosa, which suppositories that turn to estrogen, but they're all down there. So they don't go all over your body. So I do those in addition to the estrogen patches. So that's my system. And I guess my biggest piece of advice is find someone you trust, who listens and who's forward thinking and who uses a compounding pharmacy. So anyway,
So mine it's varied throughout the years. And so I started out much like you, estrogen cream, testosterone cream. Well, no, I started out estrogen cream, which is not like you, testosterone cream, and progesterone pills, capsules. And then I moved to the patch. I loved the patch rather than the cream because these creams, it just gets old. My problem was that with the testosterone cream, my testosterone was never changing. It was still very, very low. And so my biggest complaint, I felt great other than the fact that my libido was horrible. And I tried lots of different things, went to different doctors, and finally I had a friend who'd done pellets, and I was not really for pellets. I'm a health coach. I've taken many courses in it. I've read many books, and I just really felt like pellets was not the way to go. But I wasn't having any relief. I did try testosterone injections, and injecting myself was really hard, and they wanted me to do it twice a week, and it hurt. And
was it intramuscular or subcutaneous? Because I do peptides every day and it doesn't hurt.
Right. I think, it's funny because it was subcutaneous, but I think I must have hit the muscle. I don't know, Jamie.
Or the needle
I give myself peptides too. So it was just really, really tough. And so I just could not do that. I decided to give the pellets a try. And I've been doing the pellets now for maybe 2 years. I love the effects of them. Let me back up. So at first, when I first started doing them, it was great. My testosterone went up, my libido went up. I was like so happy. Again, it has stayed. My libido is great. The only problem I had was bleeding during there was no certain time. I mean, I would bleed a lot.
But you're in
Different
menopause.
times.
You don't
And
have
in
a
a
cycle.
right,
Okay.
but it was
She was
my
bleed.
estrogen. Yeah, and I was like, it was not a heavy period, but it was just enough to be annoying. I'm like, there should be some benefits of being in menopause. And it was causing me to bleed. They did make sure that I didn't have any cysts, and there was nothing. But one of the things I learned is you can almost overdose your estrogen with pellets because your testosterone will go through your system faster than the estrogen will. And so they put estrogen and testosterone in the pellets most of the time.
Mhm.
So the last 2 times they did not give me estrogen. They just gave me testosterone, which now I'm not bleeding, which that's great. I feel really good. But my concern now is that I'm not getting enough estrogen. So
Can you not do the patch with
I
that?
could, but I need to test my blood work needs to be
Okay.
tested to see where I am. And the other thing is, this last time so to do a pellet, what they do is they just cut your butt cheek just a little bit and slip these pellets in there.
Yeah, I've had them.
And the problem with that is you're not supposed to work out for 2 to 3 days. And I like to work out. I mean, that helps me mentally. Um, and just the thought of, and they alternate butt cheeks every 3 months being cut. I'm just like, I'm not for that anymore. I just don't
Yeah.
love that. That's not a long-term solution for me. And that's why I'm excited about working with Dr. Elizabeth Adams on these, because we're going to test and see where I am. I have a feeling my estrogen's got to be fairly low right now, because I'll be surprised if it's where it should be, because I haven't had any estrogen uh, in the last 6 months. I haven't had any estrogen. I can't feel any different. I don't feel any different, but I just can't believe that my estrogen would be where it needs to be. So I want to see where I am and then work with her. And she has another doctor she works with and we'll see. I love the patch, the estrogen patch. So I would definitely do the patch. I would try the testosterone shot again if that's what they think I should do. I'm just really tired of the pellets every 3 months being cut. I just it's not for me right now. But if that's my only solution, because I will tell you that did bring back my libido, I feel better than ever. And I'm like you, I don't ever see me going off of any HRT. I will continue HRT for my lifetime because it prevents so many diseases, Alzheimer's, bone density, all these things that are so important for us to have.
Yeah.
So
But you're going to wean off these pellets and you're not going back.
well, we'll see. I'm getting my blood work done soon. So we should do a follow-up on this.
Yeah.
I'm having my blood work done soon. We'll see where I am and then what they recommend from there. I'm due to have pellets again in January, and my goal is not to do that.
Yeah. I let mine, I did them one time.
Mm-hmm.
And Zane will attest to this. I don't know if I should say I got mean or I got meaner. He said, you've gotten meaner and you just still don't have it much. He didn't really say it, which I still, and I have friends who literally were chasing their husbands around the house all the time. And I'm like, wow, that would have been great. That did not happen. And I was like, mean. So
Yeah.
that
Well, and testosterone can do that, right, to us.
yeah.
I didn't get mean. To say, I can remember thinking, I don't care if I ever have sex again. And that was such a low moment for me. I was like, ah,
That
I'm too young to feel that way. And I want that part because there's a part of us, it's not just about the orgasm or whatever. It's about this
connection.
well, it is about a connection, but it's about this feeling inside of us that we're still vibrant and young and youthful and energetic and all these things and sexy. And I don't want that to go away.
Yeah. And it's a journey for each of us because your pellet experience was different from mine.
Yeah.
And no one's blood work is going to be like the next person's. So I guess both of us would advise anyone asking about HRT, and there were several, and there were several more that came in. It's such an individual thing. No one can dispense medical advice. No one can tell you the magic formula because it's so personal.
It really is. And you got to figure out what works for you, what you're willing to do. And I know several women who are like, I'm just going natural. I'm going natural. I mean, you know, you just have to do what is right for you. But you need to know it having knowledge. You need to make these decisions being knowledgeable about what HRT can do for you.
That's exactly right. And I'll link to both of those books because I need to read the one you recommended. Okay, just a few more, Deanna. Tips on coaching college age kids without hurting their confidence and coaching them on their major, clothes, etc. I am going to defer to Deanna because I am that mom that says you need to put on lipstick. I don't like that outfit. I mean, I'm just very, and my kids know they don't expect me to tiptoe because I'm just that way. So their feelings, I don't guess, get hurt because that's mom. How would you coach without?
Children lead by example. You can say things to them all day long. That is not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they may do it in front of you or whatever, because I mean, like my mother used to say, Deanna, you've got to line your eyes, or Deanna, you've got to, put some makeup on or something like that. But I think leading by example instead of trying to coach your children, I think you love and accept them who they are. And because anytime I've tried to tell my children, well, at this age, I can't
Especially boys.
anything, but right, exactly. But
And I think she's got all boys. I think Molly.
yeah, I mean, I think it's really by example. And you know what's important? I have 3 sons. They're all so different. One of them loves to dress nice all the time. The other one could care less about his clothes. And the other one is very eccentric in his clothing choices. I mean, not what I would choose, but they're happy. I mean,
It's what do you advise on? You pick what you. I will say because and I'm almost sure she has all boys. I will say this though. She did mention major. I think that is something that, and obviously before they graduate from high school, I think that's something that's very important, especially in this day and age. And with AI, that's a decision that needs to be well thought out and done with a lot of counsel from people in different fields. Most schools have a career day or have a whatever, but Zane has spoken into several young men and helped them with their career path. And I think if you know what you want to do, find someone in that field who's been successful in it, who can give you advice, especially that's not in your family, that they will listen to, take heart. Because if you're investing in college education, like we were big on, you got to get a certification. We're not paying for liberal arts. We're not paying because we'll pay, but it has to be marketable skills. So that's Molly, what I would say. That's probably the thing I'd be really intentional about. But as you said, these other things, they can work those out.
Well, here's my thoughts on the major thing. And again, this is coming from a mom of 3 boys and watching them, what they've done with their lives and everything. I think that you want them to pick something that they enjoy because they're going to spend most of their time doing that. But I think at 18, 19, 20 years old, how in the world do they know what they want to do, right? So, I mean, honestly, if I were advising my children today, I would ask them to take a gap year. I think this gap year thing is kind of a cool idea. knowing that in a year that they would go back to college but that they go travel or they go experience some kind of job that they think they might like. Just do something because it's a one time in your life when you can. Because once you go to college, a lot of times people meet your spouse and then you get married, and that's, you're not going to have a chance to do that. So, and I've watched all three of my boys major in, I think CJ majored in entrepreneurship, Carter majored in marketing, and Cole did major in computer science, I believe. And they're all three doing well. CJ is an entrepreneur. He has had so many different companies and jobs, and he's 36 years old. So it's not the same as it was when we were getting out of college. You get a job and that's the job you have for the rest of your life. Because that's not happening. My son Carter majored in marketing. He's done a lot of different jobs. Now he has 2 different companies and he's an entrepreneur. And my son Cole, he was computer science and he works for a company and he is doing pretty much what he was trained to do, but he's learned so much more. And some of his friends that do the same sort of thing, some of them didn't even go to college. They just taught themselves how to do all this stuff. So I just think it's different paths for different children. And I think you have to, like Cole was a perfect person. He did go to college, but he did most of his college online and that fit his personality perfect. Whereas for me, I would have hated online schooling. So I think you have to decide, what's going to motivate them to get to where you just want them to be happy and yes, provide for themselves, but providing for themselves starts with you not providing everything for them.
Oh yeah, that's the truth for sure. Now, Deanna, I think we've got two more. Very quick answer for me on this one. This is Lindsay asked best marriage tips for newlyweds, and I'll link to. I think Zane and I did a podcast on this. One of our number one is go to church together, do church together, and number 2 comes from that. Have friends who are churched Christians who will be for the marriage, good examples. So all of ours is in building a community of faith family. So that would be my tip.
I love that tip. I don't really, I can't say that I've been real successful at marriage. So I'm going to be like, I love that tip. So I think that's great. I'm going to land at that.
Well, that's good. Okay. And Lindsay also asked, and I've got to do better at traditions, but favorite traditions as a married couple and as a family. I have got to, now that I'm a grandmother, got to do better at establishing traditions. And because we're the easy ones, we'll flex, that can turn into you don't really have a firm tradition. So I will let you start, because I do have one thing I can say, but you can. Do you have?
Yeah, I think you know what I have not. I've been the easy one, so that's where something I wish I had done more of is have traditions. The one tradition we have that's pretty much stuck is on Christmas Eve, going to Christmas Eve service together and coming back over to my house and opening presents and having a meal together. So that's the one thing we do. But again, I'm flexible, so I always check with them every year to make sure, is that going to work for y'all? And yeah, I mean, I wish I had more traditions. I wish I had established more, but when the boys were young, when I got my first divorce, and so I really think that led me to not have many traditions.
Yeah. Well, and I always just relied on, until grandkids, his mom had a lot of traditions. And then when my grandparents were alive, we would always go and be with them. But now ours are gone. And now we're the grandparents. The one thing, and we did this the other day, we missed y'all, and we took them to their first Santa. I want to do that every year. We went to Gus Meyer. That was the most beautiful Santa.
It was great, wasn't it?
Oh, beautiful.
That's good.
So I want to take them every year to do Santa, no matter how old they are. And then I want to take one trip to see Christmas lights. We're going to the Grand Hotel first or second weekend in December. They have a Christmas walk where you
Mhm.
go outside and see the lights. So I'm hoping
Oh,
that will become a tradition. But you know, they're babies now, so we'll see. So we're more motivated right now. I think I hear you say that too, to maybe find some because it's never too late to start.
that's right. It's never too late to start. And I do think traditions are comforting too, but you can't be rigid in those traditions and make people feel guilty if they can't be there.
That's right. That's right. And I want to make sure M Hart 1741, she says menopause, don't feel like myself, grumpy and irritable. Has that happened to you? I think we answered that and says absolutely. And that's why both of us are very, very big on HRT. And I think we have hit it all. Is there, Deanna? Anything you want to end on, Deanna?
There's one thing that I think is very important that gets overlooked in our health journey. And I was just listening to a podcast this morning about it. I'll send you the podcast,
Okay.
but it's talking about how community is so important, that we think that getting our steps in, getting, drinking that smoothie and, all the things are so important for our health. But our community, our friendships are the number one predictor of health. And I think as women, we need to really understand that and really work on our friendships. And friendships take work. You and I have worked on our friendship. We don't work on it that much because we've got other things pulling us. And I think when we are in this stage of life, like I said, it's a little past the empty nest. So now we're grandparents, and now we can travel more and we do more. But those girlfriends, that community we have is so important to our overall health. We can't neglect that.
Absolutely. And I want to say that I had at 60, I had a wake up call that, you know what? Grandkids are the best ever, but they're going to grow up, get busy. They're not always going to be laying in the floor playing and, being there. And our parents die, and our husbands usually precede us. And
Mm.
friendships are worth every minute that we can pour into them. And I committed to do better from 60 onward. So you and I'll have to do better as well.
Yes, for sure.
Deanna, thank you. Thank you. Come on anytime. Thanks to all
Thank you.
who
Thank you.
submitted questions. And when you get back, let me know and let's have lunch.
That sounds great. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you, Deanna. And to
Love you.
love you, girl. And to all of you watching and listening, until next time, have a fabulous rest of your day.